Hello everyone, it's Shauna coming to you live from her craft room in Edmond, Oklahoma. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I had some people ask me if I could take a new tour of the craft room since Jason, my husband, has moved out and I have the whole room to myself. And I needed to update the video anyway, so here we go. I'm standing in the hallway, so when you come down, this is at the end of the hallway in our house, and it is a large room. So right here you have my cards that I sell and a closet right around the corner. I'm gonna try not to make you guys sick and dizzy. I'll show you everything. So lots of containers, just storage. All my adhesives, all my glues, all the stuff that I need for the craft fair. So just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. So that's the closet, and then if you come back around, here's kind of a overview of the room. So my stamps, a whole bunch of storage, my inks, whole bunch of storage, ribbon, my main craft area, and then some storage. And I'll show you kind of how I have things split up. I get asked this a lot because I have a lot of scrapbooking supplies, materials. So on this wall, which is now what I sit in front of, so things have kind of changed. This is what I want at a hand's reach. So on the bottom, I have all my paper. I sort it in the color families. And then in the totes down there, I've got inks and glitter and embossing powders, all that kind of stuff. And then of course up above, all my stamp sets. And then in between the stamps and the paper are where I keep my dies and my embossing folders. My Cricut's up there. I've got a typewriter for scrapbooking. So I will take you kind of as a closer look into that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and just pan around so that you can see there's some cards that I've made, some inks on that wall. It's kind of where I keep my ink pads, my markers, my blends. And then below that is some office stuff, some inspiration catalogs, some dies, my Cricut cartridges, paper. Like I said, I'll get into that a little bit more in detail in just a second. Some more cards that I've made, just kind of inspiration to myself. That's a lot of ribbon and fibers, some more storage containers on top, and then that little case right there has buttons and sequins and washi tape and brads and all that stuff. And then this is kind of my scrapbooking wall. So I try to keep like items together. So albums on the first two, scrapbooking paper, that's just kind of colored paper, and then below that is my scrapbooking pattern paper. And then below that in the containers are things that I've split up on how I scrapbook. Everybody's different, so I do things by theme. So snow, Valentine's, 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas, holidays. I'll show that a little bit more here in a second. So I'm gonna pan back around because now you've seen the whole room. So let's come back to this stamp wall and let's get kind of a closer look. So right there I've got my basic white, my thick white, my Very Vanilla, my basic beige, my black, some clear sheets, some adhesive sheets, some Copic coloring, and then below that I have 12 by 12. So again, the white, the Very Vanilla, the basic beige, the black. These containers right here are kind of my project containers. They are empty at the moment, which is a very nice feeling. I have worked my hiney off to get it that way. There is some designer series paper, which is just pattern paper, that is on the last chance list. So it's not retired yet. I can still use it, but it is going out. So this container right here has glitter stickles. Looks like, sorry, I'm trying not to make you dizzy, but that's all that. You guys, again, I have a craft room full of stuff. I've been doing it since 1999. Long time. Embossing powders, embossing tray, all that good stuff. The one next to it has some cat eye inks. I don't really grab for this stuff anymore. Some distress inks, my chalks, my colored pencils. Yep. And then my little ink daubers. So again, those are distress inks, some more chalks. I haven't played around with that stuff in a long, long time. So then we come to punches. So there are my border punches, my crocodile. There are some image punches. So pennants, balloons, cupcakes, ice creams, bows, jars, ghosts, bats, gingerbread man, Christmas tree, snowflake, just images. This is more images, so flowers, butterflies, animals. They are heavy. This one is tags, pennants, labels, banners. That kind of stuff. So really just labels, and then this is my circles, my ovals, my squares, my rectangles. That right there is just office stuff. This is my Stampin' Up! Spots, my catalogs, some stuff I print out for inspiration, and again, my paper. So, and again, it's the 8.5 by 11 on top, sorted by color family. So there at the end we have the white, Very Vanilla, black. The next one is the subtles. Then you have the brights. Then you have the regals. Then you have the neutrals. Then you have the end colors. And then below that, it's the same color families, but in the 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper. So again, like I said, in between the stamps and the paper is the embossing folders, dies that I have accumulated over time, my typewriter's down there, my Cricut is right there, and I just set it up there. If I need to use it, of course, I pull it over here on my table, my worktop. So back to this wall. Again, inks, blends, ink refills, markers. Do have a couple of little turn things up there that have some buttons, and then I have some punches. I have a couple of my little pins from Stampin' Up. So my bronze, bronze elite, my silver, my little award pins. Some more punches. Those are my little mini punches. Some blending brushes, some more buttons. And then on this carousel right here, this caddy, I've got a whole bunch of StazOn and distress pads, inks. So stuff that I reach for every once in a while. There are some alcohol inks up here, some glitter things from Stampin' Up. So just kind of some hodgepodge. Okay, this is probably right here the most of the hodgepodge. I have a whole bunch of cardboard, and this is where I keep my magnet sheets for my dies. So those are cardboard pieces that I use. Whole bunch of Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper that is retired, but I don't want to let go of because I'm not done using it. Some cards that I need to put in clear envelopes and put on my spin rack to sell. Some old 8.5 by 11 Stampin' Up! Cardstock that is separated for years, you know, for the in colors and when they were in. Cricut cartridges. These are some Cricut markers, some stamping blocks. Again, I'm trying not to make you guys too dizzy trying to walk around the cart here. These are my clear envelopes and the white envelopes to mail the cards. Some 6x6 Designer Series paper that has retired that I don't want to let go of. And then this is all packaging stuff for classes. And my Clorox wipes and my rubbing alcohol to clean my work area after classes. Then below that is my binders that have my stamps in it, a whole bunch of old Stampin' Up! Catalogs that I used for inspiration. And then that's a whole bunch of scrapbooking. Creative card templates, some titles for scrapbooking, just some idea books. There are some more scrapbooking idea books, some more templates, scrapbooking card ideas in all those binders. And then over there is my daily planners. And in that last one in the middle is just some treat box packaging and all my ATG gun refills. So on the bottom, that is my granddaughter's scrap paper. When she comes and card makes and crafts with me, that's the paper she is allowed to use. And then I have my cutter, some hot glue guns, some little envelope boards down there, a little paper shredder, some die cutting machines, and then those are all my die cuts. And then there's a Cuttlebug. But those are all old Stampin' Up! Die cuts right there. That's how they used to look. They were really thick and wide. There's a mini stamp emboss machine. I don't really reach for my mini too much because I have my big one out on my desk. But that is that wall. So, I really like to be able to see things out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it and I hide it, I forget I have it and I don't use it. This is my ribbon wall. Now, my mother-in-law used to scrapbook card make with me, and she had a ribbon problem. She had tons of ribbon, and I did not sell it at the garage sale. I have kept it for myself. So, so this, actually that one's not. That one, I lie. That one is my granddaughter's craft stuff. So paint brushes, paints, little craft stuff that I bought at Michael's or Hobby Lobby for her to put together. That's an empty one. Yay! Okay, so the ribbon, here's my just off the bolt loose ribbon. Those used to be on bolts until my granddaughter got a hold of them and then unraveled them all. And when she was little, when she was like less than a year old, these totes were closer to the ground, and she would take that and dump it all over herself, and she thought it was funny. This is all my Stampin' Up ribbon. A lot of it has retired, but of course I'm not getting rid of any of it. And then down here is a whole bunch of fibers. There's some fishing line that I use for spinner cards, but a lot of this is just fibers and threads. This is twine. And then these are ribbons, but they are not Stampin' Up, and I've got them kind of color put together by color. So yellow, oranges, reds, pinks, whites. And then this is going to be the rest of them. So the blues, the purples, the browns, the orange, the fall, Christmas. Okay. Trying to go slow so I don't make you guys dizzy. This is current new designer series paper, and I have this in front of me again so that I will use it, so that I will remember I have this and I need to make cards with it. These are a couple of little egg dishes that came out at Easter. I thought were pretty, and I use them to when I'm die cutting. So like I was working on that waterside retreat, I had some sailboats that I cut out. These are all my extra little pieces that I have not used, but I don't want to throw away. So again, the let me try to switch hands, see if I can open these. So washi tape, I don't have a lot, but I do have some. That was not really a trend I ever really got in. I have tons of sequins for shaker cards. Tons of seed beads for shaker cards. These are what I call Skittles. Let me see if I can, I don't think that's what people call them anymore. That's going to be hard to show you because that's clear. Let me grab a pink one. If I can open it one-handed. Oh. So, a Skittle, a Dewdrop, they're called several different things. But they're just like little round, and then they're flat on the bottom. I lost it. But they're, you can use them to make shaker cards, but they're really thick. Usually because of the flat bottom, you just use them to embellish or put like dots on your cards or your scrapbook pages. So a whole bunch of different colors in that. These are my shaker bits that are shapes. So like those Valentine ones that we had, remember the little, see if that'll focus, the little hearts in the envelopes. These are the little flowers. You guys have seen me use these a ton. Some more flowers. So these are all Stampin' Up, and these are like themed shapes. So we have stars in here. We have little confetti ones in here. We have snowflakes in here. mistletoe, holly, Christmas. So those are all the little shaker shapes. This is my miscellaneous drawer. So I have little bottle caps, paper clips, puzzle pieces, binder clips. Those are Weeble Wobbles. These are Velcro. These are little magnetics. These are spinner tops. These are eyelets, big and small. Those are shaped ones down there. And then we have tons of buttons. These are not Stampin' Up. All my Stampin' Up buttons are over there on those carousels that I showed you just a little bit ago by the TV. But let me open one of these. So Brad's buttons. Lots of stuff that I used to use when I scrapbooked before I ever got into Stampin' Up. So, and then again, like I said, last but not least, the scrapbooking wall. So, albums on the first two. And then my colored cardstock. And then below that is designer series paper. So printed, and I have these sorted by theme. Like, let's see, what's this? So this is my boy paper. That's my grill paper. That's holiday paper. And then over here are my paper pads. So I have Christmas, I have Halloween, but those are all the actual paper packs, the pads. And then that is the brown, the beige, the white, the gray, the black, kind of the basics. And then in these little bins, I have them all sorted by theme. So birthday, school, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. That is how I scrapbook. But everybody is different. Boy, girl, wedding, 4th of July, Easter, Valentine's, winter. So those are papers on the top, and then on the bottom it's the same categories, and these are stickers. Let me see if I can pull out one for you. Here's the baby one. And again, a lot of this stuff is so old, guys. But stickers, die cuts, little Jolie embellishments, just kind of everything that you would put on a scrapbooking page. Let me see if I can kind of, so there's some more like little embellishments. But that is basically the room. Let me close this and put this back up, and then I'll show you the workstation for the middle. Oh goodness. So the new craft tables are in, ready for you guys to come and play, but I could probably put, I would say at most 8 people around this, and that's putting people on the edges. But so in the middle I have my lights, I have my adhesives, these little caddies, I have my water brushes, scissors, embossing guns. I need some more chairs. Those are coming soon. There's my little die cutting station. This right here are my current dies and stamps. My tab, my laptop. This is my work area. So my glass mat, my Stampin' Up! Catalog, of course, is always right there. My paper trimmer, my ribbon. I have that on an IKEA cart along with all my embellishments, my dots, my rhinestones, and then down here on the bottom is my little paper trimmer, my chamois cloth, my stamp positioner tools, my scrapers. So that's it. Alright guys, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.